Hello, how are you? I've got this open in my PDF program. It should be the easiest way to show you the files and switch between. So when you open up your editable files, you will open on a desktop or laptop. You won't see this bit here on phone or tablet. So these are editable. You no longer have to wait for me to do these for you. So I've named the cover pages of both my emotions books there. And it is also, you just type it in once, it's named the sensory profile page. If you get this printed, these will be the cover pages of your two books. And then this here will be the A3 printout for the sensory profile. Now, let me show you the pages here. This first video is just going to be a quick overview of what's included, where to find what, and then I'll do two separate videos, one on the recognizing emotions, and then the second one on emotional regulation and the sensory profile. So for the both books, we've got 2 pages of cutouts. So laminate these. Obviously, if you get the printed version, that's already laminated for you. I don't cut out. You will need to do that. Sorry. And then you've got the recognizing emotions. Now, there is no point building a sensory profile and dealing with emotional regulation if you and your little ones don't understand or can't label or recognize all those different emotions. Yeah. Now, if you're doing this with a much younger child, there's no need to go through all 16 emotions that we've got here. Scroll down or flip through till you've got your anxious, sad, happy, and angry emotions. So we have grouped them into 4. You'll notice as well that we've got them on the faces as well, on the ball faces, as well as the kids. The kids are multicultural this time, yay, and we've got boys and girls. So from the very beginning, we're recognizing the emotions as a spectrum as well. I'll go into this when we actually do the book, so I'll just keep going at the moment. So we've got all the different emotions, one to a page, then we group them into the 4, both for the faces and the kids. We then group them onto one page. We've got the pop stick emotions. These are really good for, again, I should wait till I'm doing the next video, but really good for having them close by to identify different emotions as your little one is experiencing them. The wheel is another great one to take out, getting your little one, once they recognize the different emotions, to point, particularly if they can't express how they're feeling, they can point to it as well. Then you've got the Play-Doh emotions, so they don't actually have the faces on there. That's for you to go through and do as activities. So once we recognize them up here, to then be able to start expressing them and showing what they look like. You have the balls as well as the kids. Then there's some more activities there, which I will go into that later. These are matching ones that match. If we scroll back up, I hope this is in sync. The cutouts that we've got up the top here. We'll just wait for that to load again. So that's pretty well the first book. So recognizing those emotions, and then emotional regulation and sensory profile is the second book. This is the really in-depth stuff. So this is probably about 8 years of therapy with early intervention for my 2 kids. Both have autism. My background's in teaching as well, and I still volunteer with other families with their kids with a wide variety of additional needs. Typically ASD, that's what we see the most of. So I really hope this is everything that I have learned over such a long period of time, both with my kids day in, day out, with me as well. This is really interesting. Even the sensory profiles, do that for yourself as well as your kids. And it's really interesting to see the differences as well there and similarities. But also using this with other people's kids of various needs and strengths as well. So things to remember, I'll go through that later when I actually do the video. Seeing those emotions as a spectrum, knowing and understanding that we process emotions differently. I typically take about 3 days. I'm very slow at processing emotions, and then understanding that as well. If you've got something like a big issue to deal with, you sleep on it first before sending that email. Yeah. So little things like that. That's not actually in here anywhere. That was just a off the top of my head thing. Understanding the difference between a tantrum and a meltdown. That is huge. And it'll also save your mental health as well, knowing how to deal with certain behaviors. Um, this one was included in our last emotions book, but I've built on that a huge amount in this one. That's another thing. If you're watching this and haven't actually bought the book, if you're wondering whether it's worth it if you've already got the old one, definitely worth it. Yeah. So we've got sensory tools to get going and to calm down. Understand as well what might calm you down may work someone else up. So my boy will just respond to the deep pressure. That affects him pretty well, close to instantly, I suppose. You could try and squeeze another kid having a meltdown and they're going to belt you. Yeah, because it's not going to do the same thing. So that's understanding that proprioception and movement. I've got a few pages on that and for different ages as well. You've got your household chores. You can actually include that into keeping your little one calm. I will go into that further later. Um, Going further than just the five senses, so adding in proprioception and interoception, this is something that I've only really started to understand probably this year. And with my daughter, getting a OT that specializes in interoception. So I'll add to this, I hope, as I go. Then understanding hormones, how they play on staying regulated. Now, this is going to be overwhelming. That is completely fine. I want you to know where things are so that you can come back to it when you're ready to deal with it. Having it all in one place, I've tried to make it as visual as possible. That's one way in particular that I learn and remember stuff as well. And then, so once you have an understanding of all or some of this, even just a little bit of this, you can start building a sensory profile for your child. And I would recommend doing it for you as well. Now, these pages here, I don't want you feeling like you need to do anything in the book, this book just for the sake of doing it. This area in particular, I wouldn't sit there and expect your little one to know how to calm themselves down when they're excited and then go straight to surprised and then straight to scared. This is more particular emotions that may come up more often than others, giving you tools to recognize that emotion and go, all right, when we hit this point, these are some things that we can do to bring your child back down, yeah, back to regulated. I think that's it for this one. Then we've got the sensory profile and sorry, I just had a phone call and I didn't know how to hang up on that. Sorry. Okay, so everything from the second book, we're then building that sensory profile and the regulation chart. So when you get your order, say you've got the posted one, don't worry too much about this until you have gone through and understood that second book. All right, I'm going to stop talking now and go into this into proper detail in the two separate videos. See ya.